Hello folks, hello everyone, Barun Singh here. Right, so thank you very much for joining me today in another Facebook Live episode of Overseas Point Info. I'm pretty much excited to bring one of the most interesting topics that is the importance of pronunciation in learning English language. Right. So by the way, if you have any queries, any questions, do not forget to drop your queries and questions in the comment box. So, learning spoken English goes beyond just trying to perfect the grammar accuracy and also the extension of lexical items. That is, of course, to make it rich our vocabulary, right? And okay. So by the way, so it is not only me, but of course definitely all the linguists and also most of the language learners, they feel right the pronunciation plays a very vital role in learning a foreign language, especially in context to English language, right? By the way, and that's why. But the problem is, right, pronunciation becomes corrupted by three different things, right? So the first thing it says, when we fail to catch a particular pronunciation of a word, especially by the speaker, yeah, definitely, and of course the listeners, right, fail to understand what the speaker is trying to speak, right? Because due to mispronunciation, right, the sound, the pronunciation becomes corrupted. So because the reason is there are lots of English words, they have a pair of words. Often they have same pronunciation, but they have different spelling. But by the other side, there are so many English words. They they spell differently, but definitely they pronounce the same. For instance, for example, right? If you talk about never and fever, that's a consonant N-E-V-E-R, never. Let's take to this side, and by the way, this another side, let's take instead of consonant N, let's apply F consonant under that. So that becomes F-E-V-E-R, fever. So that's one example, and of course we have many more examples, right? So it is something like R-E-A-D, in the past participle form, which we pronounce as read, right? Okay, sorry, due to some technical problem, okay, we will resume back. Forgive me. Hello folks, all right, hello, good evening everyone. Sorry, we had to take a small break due to the technical glitch. So by the way, we're coming back to our discussion. So we were discussing about the importance of pronunciation in learning English language. So before the break, we were just trying to discuss the importance of pronunciation, how the pronunciation affects the listener, how the miscommunication occurs out of the corrupted in pronunciation, in one's pronunciation, in terms of the speaker's pronunciation. So the listeners fail to understand a particular message due to pronunciation. So that's one of the reasons why pronunciation is so important. We need to give so much of stress while trying to learn English language, right? So we were just trying to give you some examples. Let's say, like for example, coming back to that example, first example, right? There are so many words they have same spelling, but they have same pronunciation. For instance, right? Let's say like, of course, let's say like B-O-R-E bore and B-O-R-E bore. They spell differently, but they have the same pronunciation, right? And let's say like the same, some more examples. Let's say like W-H-I-L-E while, and of course the other way, let's say like W-I-L-D while, okay, for instance. And of course, and another one, let's say like which, W-I-T-C-H also which, and W-H-I-C-H is also which. So over here is, so if we mispronounce, let's say like which, or instead of telling white, if we say like white, something, instead, because in some action, some in some Multiinfluence there is no such any such pronunciation. So that's why if we mispronounce, the listener will fail to understand what we are trying to say, and of course we are so aware of our self-conscious, right? So that's the first thing. And by the way, right, secondly, right, when cultures of different native speakers, they have different culture, and that's why they have a different pronunciation. Sometimes even it may corrupt the pronunciation. So by the way, for instance, let's take example of British pronunciation and let's say like American pronunciation. Of course, there is not that much difference between that, but still, I'll give you some examples. Then through this we will understand or how do they differ. And of course, instance, I have given two examples in our previous Facebook Live session too. So it's like literature, for example. Instance, for in American English it says literature. So that's L-I-T-E-R-A-T-U-R-E. So the first T we sound as D sound, so it becomes right, literature. But where else, right, we also still expand all these syllables, like let's say like literature, we have 4 syllables, but while the other side in British pronunciation we have just say like literature, it becomes it minimizes to only 3 syllables. So the same way we have like medicine in American English, and of course definitely in British English we say like medicine, a kind of. And by the way, right, a few more examples to make it more clear to understand. Let's say like little in American English, it says little, L-I-T-T-L-E, pronounces as little. And by the way, in the British English, it sounds as like little, right, something. And by the way, it's another, let's like, right, international. In British English, we say international, and in American English, it's say international. So let's like interview, right? And interaction becomes, of course, definitely American English, and interaction becomes, British English. So due to the action, different sounds, sometimes it becomes, the corruption in pronunciation where the listener failed to understand, confused. So there's only one solution, is that definitely the listener, right, should try to understand varieties of pronunciation which are available, spoken by the various native English speakers. Yeah, definitely. And the third one, which is the most important issue faced by the listeners as well as the speaker who are learning English language. So let's like, due to the mother tongue influence, right, there are certain pronunciation which are not available in that particular learner's accent. So that's the reason it fails to understand, to understand by the listener. Let's say like, for example, the native speakers, they fail to understand. For instance, let's say like in our mother tongue, let's like we don't have the sound of V. For example, let's like V as Victor, where in our language we have called like go, jump, rai, basil, dil, go, do, bum. We have just bum, but of course we don't have vum sound. So that's why instead of telling like velu, right, we tend to sound like behelu. So instead of we say, right, Victor, we pronounce, okay, we fail to pronounce Victor, so we just pronounce like Victor, a kind of some heavy plosive sound. It should have been fricative sound, right? And okay, so these are the issue, and definitely, you're right, if we are really aware of all these silly mistakes, right? So these silly mistakes makes us, all right, silly mistakes make us, to feel so ashamed and embarrassment in front of, the listeners. And so that's why, right, a few things let's try to understand. Let's try to demonstrate some of the pronunciations which we listener should not fail to understand when we start listening to the native speakers English. All right, and over here first, there are some words they actually end with okay, that's which means vowel A, but they carry the sound of E, which means short vowel E. All right, so let's say like instead of, let's say like Private. So over here we have in the last syllable we have A vowel. So the sound of A vowel carries the sound of short vowel E. So it becomes, instead of telling private, so it is going to be private, and there are of course definitely so many examples. All right, so let's see over here. So over here, all right, so there are some words they end by age. So age. So the first A vowel A will still have the sound of short vowel E. So that will become age sound, like is sound. So for instance, let's say like Village. So over here, so this will pronounce as village, not as a village. So many example, let's say like percentage. Instead of telling percentage, we are going to pronounce this as a percentage. And of course, instead of telling language, it will become language. And of course, instead of package, it's going to become package. And of course, definitely orphanage. Instead of that, we have orphanage. Message, of course, passage. Courage, teenage, mileage, carriage. Advantage, disadvantage. Encourage, right, discourage, backstage, luggage, and definitely we have lots of words, but definitely let's try to remember most of the English words. Let's say like 99% of the English words that end by age, we should sound as ig, which means each, right? So that's the first thing. So once if we understand this, this rules and regulation, definitely we will not fail to understand. We will not fail to understand particular accent, by the way. And of course, second also, over here, so let's say like for example, instance, when we say bed, we sound as a bed, all right, bed as a bed, and of course ket could be as a cat. But again, once again, English language is something so flexible. It has lots of exceptional cases. So that's the reason, right? So this rule is not going to be applicable everywhere. So I'm just trying to give some of the examples because we have lots of exceptional cases. So whatever I'm going to say, the same rule cannot be applicable to each and every word. So by the way, we have this one, few more examples. Let's say like basket, for example, BASKED. So over here, ET. So the last E sound, we will have the again short vowel E sound, so will become basket, right? So we have, instead of telling pocket, it's going to become pocket. Of course, packet, racket. The tool, right? The kit which people play badminton. So that's going to become as a racket. And of course, or is it banquet, which means it's a large, huge party, or let's say as a feast, right? And of course, instead of market, will become market. And of course, instead of telling jacket, will become jacket, definitely. And of course, target, right? A blanket, definitely. Cricket, bracket, profit, helmet, instead of telling helmet, okay, helmet. And ticket, right? Instead of telling ticket, will become ticket, and of course planet. Instead of that, we will have planet, definitely, right? Sonnet, by the way, right? Sonnet is a 14-line poem, so this will become sonnet, but it's not going to become sonnet, right? And we have many examples: wicked, gadget, omelette, for example, right? So we used to say it's omelette, but of course definitely it's going to become omelette, right? And puppet, closet, sacrilege, snippet, and of course we have plenty of examples. But let's remember, so that particular rule cannot be applicable to each and every word. Let's remember, because English is a word, we need to do some extra research for each and every word. That is only one challenge, but of course definitely you and I love to challenge and to play with the words, because we have so much passionate to learn this English language, right? And that's why, right? And by the way, right, so that's why magnet, we are going to pronounce, we are not going to pronounce this as a magnet, but of course we are going to pronounce this as a magnet, right? And one more thing here, like let's say like internet, internet, but over here we are not going to pronounce as like internet, but of course we are going to pronounce as internet, like how we used to pronounce, right? But of course, but alphabet or alphabet, it's up to you. So both either alphabet or alphabet, both are fine. But by the way, it's over here like bouquet. This will pronounce as bouquet. Of course, it's not going to become bouquet or something, right? Just something so funny, yeah, really. And right, so okay, some exceptional cases. Definitely, a few things I just would like to stress again. Also, like there are a few words they end by ate. So let's say like climate. So we used to pronounce like climate, but of course this is not going to become climate. It's going to become climate. And of course immaculate, instead of telling immaculate, so we are going to say it's immaculate. And of course desolate, using as a verb. Passionate, let's say like I'm so passionate about language, for example, right? So we can say as a passionate, but it's not going to become as a passionate, by the way. And of course we have adequate, having abundance, right? Fortunate, not fortunate, and accurate. And of course we have some more examples, but again let's remember, all the words end by ate will not carry the sound of it, ite, right? And this is something, I have something very interesting one, because most of the time the vowel e in the last position do not pronounce. All the time we try to elide, we try to just silent, we just pretend as if there is no any e sound when it is in the last syllable. But there are few words they pronounce separately and they are giving an extra syllable. For example, over here let's see a few more, because these are very often confused, right? So it says like hyperbole, so it says like hyper, hyper, bole. So this will not become hyperbole, but of course this will become hyperbole. So the last e will have the sound of short vowel e sound, so this will become hyperbole, right? And of course second we have like epitome, epitome. So the last e will have the short vowel e sound, so this will become epitome. And of course resume, definitely resume, sorry, not resume, it's going to be resume, which means biodata, right? resume as a resume. But of course if you use this as a verb, we will not have the last e as a pronounce. We will be as a eliding, as we are going to silence. Let's like resume. Let's resume the work. That could be happen. But of course, resume we are using as a noun, which means biodata. So over here, e is going to pronounce as a resume, right? And of course, one famous company, Nike, is going to be Nike. And of course, you must be aware of this, Nike. And most of the Greek names from the Greek mythology, they also pronounce the last e. Let's say like Socrates, right? Sophocles, Achilles, Hercules, right? Phoebe. So P-H-O-E-B-E. So this will sound as a Phoebe. It's not going to become like Phoebe. So even I used to pronounce as a Phoebe, but of course it's going to become Phoebe, right? And of course we have another very important character in Greek mythology. It's called like Antigone, the faithful daughter of Oedipus. So her name is Antigone, and of course one of the goddess named Aphrodite we have, and of course many names which are connected with the Greek mythology. All right. So finally we have one very important pronunciation which we really love to learn this. And over here, right, any word that ends by C-A-L-L-Y, so we are going to silent the vowel A. So for example, it's like basically, B-A-S-I-C-A-L-L-Y. Of course, we should pronounce as basically, but of course, by the way, if we silent A, so this will become basically. So it's not going to become basically, so this will become basically. So the same way, let's say some more very important examples. Definitely we have lots of we have so much of words that end by C-A-L-L-Y, but of course I have some important collection which we encounter every day. So let's say like logically, it's not going to become logically, but this will become logically. And of course fantastically, instead of telling fantastically, instead of telling sarcastically, we are going to say sarcastically, practically, right, theoretically, of course artistically, we have automatically, musically, of course romantically, right, paradoxically, sophistically, of course theoretically, of course which I have mentioned, atheistically, right, agnostically, and of course theistically, right, psychologically, philosophically, right, demographically, economically, typographically, right, optimistically, pessimistically, then hypocritically, linguistically. Oh my God, wow. We have lots of cli, but still, this is word, right, to listen all the important common clis, right? Yeah, so by the way, right, let's remember English is a non-challenge language, such a cool, tricky, fantastic, but also fantastic. We have a kind of lots of fun, while learning English language. So that's why, though we find some complexity, we find some difficulties. By the way, no pain, no gain. Okay, no pain, no gain. All right. So that's why, let's take up some challenges. All right. So over here, for the past many years, right, Overseas Point has been trying to help, the people who really want to learn English language, right, especially in terms of spoken American English, and also those who come to clear IELTS examination. We have been trying to clear their pronunciation, not only the pronunciation, because pronunciation plays a very major role when we try to speak a particular target language, right? So that's the reason. So we have been trying to help all the students, not only the students, but of course everyone who ever wants to learn English language, proficiently, effectively. Of course we are trying so much to clear the pronunciation, of course. So this is the right place. We get over here, let's crack and learn, right, this wonderful, fantastic English language, right? So before the end of the session, right, so the good news is definitely we have lots of, curriculums, we have lots of modules of various, courses where we are providing over here, all right? So we are here to assist you, by the way. So, well, it is time for me to say good night. See you next Saturday, which means on 28th November. So definitely we will be coming back with a new interesting, exciting topic here at its right forum at the same time. But of course, let's remember, previously we used to have this Facebook live session by 7 o'clock, but of course due to winter season we are just bringing up 1 hour earlier, so it's going to become 6 o'clock. So let's see 6 o'clock by next Saturday. So for today, we gotta go. Thank you, bye. Adieu. Good night.